Hey guys and girls, big news, we did it! Yes! So Xbox, the guys at Microsoft a couple of days ago, I think last week maybe, they actually released new news, which is they have done a complete 180 on their policies. So they've given up their DRM policies and their policies to do with trade-ins and selling games. And well done guys, we won! We did it. So to all those gamers out there who protested against Microsoft, whether you wrote on the forums, you wrote to them directly, you published videos on YouTube, giving your opinions and telling Microsoft how silly these policies are and how against them you are. Good job, well done. This victory definitely goes to you. So yeah, this is huge news that Microsoft have actually done a complete 180, and I do have to say I was quite surprised by it. I do think, however, that it is, a clever move by Microsoft, and it's the only move they could have made to possibly survive. So this was announced on Microsoft's website and on the forums, and Don Mattrick did release an official statement. So I'm going to go through it anyway and just tell you the things that he did say, and then I'll give my opinions on it. So the Xbox One, he did say that they had listened. So he said, "You told us how much you love the flexibility you have today with games delivered on disc. The ability to lend, share, and resell these games at your discretion is of incredible importance to you." Damn right it is. And he said that, they listen to gamers, and these are the new things. So an internet connection will not be required to play offline Xbox One games. And after a one-time system setup with the new Xbox One, you can play any disc-based game without ever connecting online again. There is no 24-hour connection required, and you can take your Xbox One anywhere you want and play your games just like on Xbox 360. So that one-time connection probably is something to do with firmware. I'm sure we will be downloading kind of firmware onto the Xbox One, which will allow this kind of offline gameplay mode to exist. He did also say trade-in, lend, resell, gift, and rent disc-based games just like you do today. There will be no limitations to using any sharing games, and it will work just as it does today on Xbox 360. In addition to buying a disc from a retailer, you can also download games from the Xbox Live on the day of release, so I'm glad that they're keeping that element continuing. If you choose to download your games, you will be able to play them offline just like you do today, and Xbox One games will be playable on any Xbox One console. There will be no regional restrictions, so that's huge. That's huge because before this announcement the Xbox One was region locked, which personally made no bloody sense to me, because PlayStation 4 is not region locked, so why you would make your console region locked and shoot yourself in the foot like that, I've no idea. But they have said that the Xbox One is going to be region free, from the sounds of it, according to that. Those things are good. So, DRM's gone, you can buy and trade in games, you don't always have to be online all the time. Those are the big things that we did have issues with. So what do I think about this announcement? Well, I think it's good. I do think it's a victory, and I do think that it does show, Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo and game developers that we are tired of their shit, basically. That we are tired of all this, trying to take our money and trying to control the industry, and we're tired of it. And we have put up with it a lot in the last 2 years with all kind of like all this DLC nonsense that's going on, and I think it's really great that gamers have really took a stand against these Microsoft policies, and it has kind of paid off to a degree. Do I think my Xbox and Microsoft are genuine in their apology about, in this statement that they have listened to the gamers? I think it's not entirely genuine, personally. Well, I don't know whether this is the cynical person in me, but the wording in this statement is very, very strange, and it's very particularly worded. Like at the end, he says, "We have listened and we have heard loud and clear from your feedback that you want the best of both worlds." And, this talk about, just like you do on the Xbox 360 today, just like the Xbox 360. So I feel like it's a little bit of a dig at the customers, the consumer, that, we are not innovative enough, that we're not, with the times. And at the beginning of the statement, Don Mattrick does say, that they still believe in their kind of vision. And, for us, the future comes in the form of the Xbox One, a system to be designed to be the best place to play games this year. And he talks about how, they believe that, they really should be taking full advantage of advances in technology, and that kind of thing, connected online all the time. And, at Microsoft, they believe that is the vision. And it almost feels in a way like, just like Xbox 360, blah, blah, blah. Like, just like you do today, just like you do today. It just feels like they're saying, like, okay, we're giving you what you want. We don't really agree with it, but we're giving you what you want. And, it's your short-sightedness, but it is what you want, so we are going to give it you. The cynical part of me does feel that, some things in this are really seem to be like worded so strangely. Like he also says, like, we appreciate your passion, support, and willingness to challenge the assumptions of digital licensing and connectivity. Like, to challenge the wording is very strange, I have to say, and it does come across as a little bit of a kind of a indirect dig basically at gamers. The key thing that's great is that DRM is not happening and online all the time is not happening, and those are definite successes. But the sad side to this is there were some elements to the Xbox One that were quite nice, and they've turned around and basically said, well, oh yeah, really? So you want no DRM and no like internet connection? Then we're going to take away this that we had for you, and we're going to take that back to our side and take away our toy and throw in our dummy and whatever and stomp it on the ground. But they did say that there are some things that we would lose, with this thing. So they did say well, let me find it. These changes, according to Microsoft, these changes will impact some of the scenarios previously announced for the Xbox One. So the sharing of games will work as it does today. You will simply share the disc. Downloaded titles cannot be shared or resold. Also, similar to today, playing disc-based games will require that the disc be in the tray. So what does this mean? This means that basically the whole, 10 friends, sharing with 10 friends and family on your list, sharing your games library, that's not going to be available. And that was quite a nice idea for the Xbox One. That was one of the only few things that sounded interesting. Well, relatively interesting, though we can do it today. But, being able to to share your library was an interesting idea. And also like things like having your game digitally on the cloud and being able to play it on other Xbox One consoles. Is that not going to be available now? And yeah, I'm just very curious what this actually means for the Xbox One. Like, how is it innovative? How is it next generation, apart from graphics, if pretty much they've just been like, oh, we're just going to keep things the way they are today. Well, that's great, that's good, because a lot of things today are good. But, it's a next-gen console, so why can you not have no DRM, have no required to be online all the time, be able to trade and sell in your games, but still have the benefits of, the cloud system, the digital library? Why can they not retain that and keep that. I don't understand why that is not possible. PlayStation 4 have that. Like, their policies are exactly the same. No DRM, no internet and everything. But, you also have Gaikai and, PlayStation Networking. You can download games instantly. They're also going to be making use of the cloud as well. So I don't get why Microsoft are going this route. And it really does feel like they're just kind of throwing a paddy, basically. It just feels like they're doing the sticking their finger up to the consumer, because the consumer obviously didn't like their product and they're annoyed about that. I don't understand why they're taking these things away, which to me doesn't seem to make that much sense. Like, again, because it's just putting restrictions on the console, and of course, the big thing of course is DRM and trading games, and that is the big beef we had. But it's a shame that they have taken away some of the more cool functions that were on the Xbox One that they were pushing. So what are my thoughts on Microsoft, and will I be buying an Xbox One? Well, I think for many gamers, like for some gamers that are like, Xbox fans, and I will admit I am an Xbox fan. I've been an Xbox gamer for 12 years. I had the original Xbox, and then I bought an Xbox 360. But for me, I feel that this change in policy, for me personally, is a little too late. I know for other gamers that it will be sufficient and that it will be enough, and a lot of people were looking for an excuse, a reason to go back to Xbox and to go back to Microsoft, because they like the Xbox. They like the Xbox brand, and they want to continue to be an Xbox gamer, and I totally get that, and that's up to you whether you do that. Personally, though, my trust in Microsoft has been hugely damaged as a result of all this kind of silliness with the Xbox One and all the restrictions that were originally placed on it. And I feel that this change in policy was not so much about, what they're saying. Like, they're saying, oh yes, we changed our idea because we're listening to the gamers and we're responding to the gamers and we care about gamers. But personally, I don't feel that that's the case. I feel that Microsoft are doing this purely for self-preservation, because they had no choice. They had to. They had to change their policy. Otherwise, they were going to severely suffer in the next the next generation market, hugely so. And after E3 and after, the PlayStation Sony conference, they were in a very, very sticky PR situation. They were in a terrible situation. And I feel that Microsoft only did this because I would assume, and I think so from what I've been reading information, that the PlayStation 4, in terms of pre-orders, there were more people that were pre-ordering the PlayStation 4 than were the Xbox One. And I'm sure, from a financial standpoint, that they were going to lose a lot of money. And I feel that we have a lot of this change. We worked very hard ourselves to try to bring this change about, and we did stick to our guns and we did keep telling them this is not acceptable, which is great. But I do feel that a lot of these changes we owe to Sony, and I do feel that Sony just owned E3, and after their conference they completely trounced Microsoft, and that it was an incredibly embarrassing situation for Microsoft. And I do feel that the people, the top top honchos did say oh good, we have to change this policy, because Sony are going to continue to be able to use a lot of kind of propaganda and PR against us, and it's going to be a PR nightmare. So I do feel a lot of it was self-preservation, from a financial standpoint, and that's the beef I have. That's the issue I have, is that I don't feel like Microsoft cares about the gamer. I don't feel they do. And there are two reasons why I think this. The first is after an interview that Don Mattrick did, and this is what he had to say about people that did not have online internet connection.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message. If you don't,
Well,
people don't like it.
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
That's just incredible. It's crazy. So like after that, I could not believe that comment. When I heard that comment, I was just like, Don, why would you say something like that? I don't get the PR team. They just seem to be so incompetent and terrible. But I don't get why you would say something like that, because that pretty much just turns around and says like, yeah, whatever. Like, you don't want to have our console, you don't have internet, whatever. Like, you just stick with the 360. We don't care about you. You're not important. And to say that to like soldiers that are like risking their lives, this is crazy. But like, I really do think that Microsoft, like after that comment, they do not care about the gamers, and that's the beef that I have. Like, this is a purely financial incentive for them to change, and that's the only reason. All they care about is money. If the second reason I don't think they care about the gamers is if they did care about the gamers, then these changes they would have made before E3. They knew after their reveal that we were unhappy about all these policies, but they were stubborn and they stuck to their guns and continued with this DRM rubbish and this online rubbish and pre-owned rubbish. And they didn't change it even at E3, and they only changed it after E3 when Sony just wiped the floor with them. And if they had cared about gamers, they would have changed it before E3 when the gaming community could have seen it. They could have got a lot more support from the gamers, and I just feel like they just don't care about the gaming community, which makes me worried about the future. I mean, what is to stop them like in the future changing their policy again? There's nothing to stop them, because like they effectively lied to the gaming community, because in previous interviews many people asked them, what can you not change these things? Like, isn't it easy? Can you not just introduce firmware to change it? And like all the people at Microsoft were like, oh no, we can't change it, it's built into the console, it's too important. We can't really run our games without being connected online all the time, it's not possible. And then turn around and do change it. So yeah, effectively you did lie then, right, Microsoft? You lied, because you can change it. So in their small print of their kind of policies, it does say like, they are able to change the policy at any time. So what is stopping them in the future installing some kind of firmware onto the Xbox One from, the Xbox Live system, and completely changing their policies again and reintroducing DRM and reintroducing always online and pre-owned restrictions and so on? Like, there is nothing to stop them from doing that in the future. And my trust in them has been severely shaken, and I just do not trust them anymore. I don't think they care about the gamers. I think all they're bothered about is making money, and that's why I won't trust them. Like, I really do think that Sony and Nintendo care much more about the gamers. They're much more, gamer friendly, gamer focused. And that is the key. That's the important thing. And like Microsoft just became like this kind of like greedy corporation, and they still are. They're putting this off and pretending that they're doing it for the gaming community and for our benefit. But honestly, when it comes down to it, it's a purely financial incentive in making these changes. So I don't trust them. And I don't know whether many other people feel the way I do, but I do know that the gaming community does not forgive easily, and it does not forget easily. And I do feel that there's this situation with the Xbox One, that even though they might have been able to do some damage control with these changes, that it will have had some long-term lasting effect on the gaming community. And I'm sure there are some gamers that like me, don't trust Microsoft anymore. And I'm still pretty much in the same place. I'm so happy for other gamers. I'm happy for people that do want to buy an Xbox One, and I'm happy for you that you're not going to have all this DRM and everything. I'm super happy about that. But for me, I am not going to be buying an Xbox One on principle because I don't trust Microsoft, and you know, I will be keeping a very close eye on them and what they're doing in the future. And for me, I'm still going to buy a PlayStation 4 when that is released. And I do have to admit that my trust has shifted much more towards Sony and Nintendo and away from Microsoft. So those are my thoughts anyway on the reveal. It's a great victory for the gaming community, definitely. That is for sure, definitely. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. So are you going to buy an Xbox One? What are your thoughts on the Microsoft 180, and what do you think are their motivations behind making these changes? Right, so I'm gonna finish this here. So have a great day, guys, and I will see you next time. All right, see you later. Bye.